If he were truly from Funai, Brink would never have shot them dead. Certainly not every single one. The Indigenists are trained never to harm the Injos Bravos, only to scare them away.
Audiambo looked away with tired eyes.
Die if you must,
he said, almost to himself.
But do no harm.
I'm sorry. You're right, said Vedala.
We still need to discuss our unfortunate Sergeant Brink, and I'll need both of you to help with the examination, at the very least as a sanity check.
Nidhi Vedala could feel that her team was balanced on the knife's edge of panic. They had all silently realized that they'd been abandoned by their native guides. All were mulling the constant threat of another attack. The situation was bleak, even without factoring in the existence of a deadly contamination event somewhere ahead of them. Quietly, Vedala was also considering the repercussions of missing today's noon communications rendezvous with General Stern. She guessed that 12 hours of missed contact would likely result in a change of plans, giving the team until midnight to reach the anomaly and make contact. If the group was considered killed in action, Stern's response would likely be drastic. Looking at each of her team members, Vedala found herself thankful. The strict, mechanical precision of Peng Wu and the calm competence of Harold Audiambo were comforting. It was James Stone, the robotics expert and last-minute addition to the team, who worried her. Moments ago, she had brusquely ordered him to repack his crucial equipment. Now he was kneeling in the mud near the walking palm tree, muttering to himself as he worked. Without porters, each scientist would have to carry a full load. Whatever couldn't be repacked would have to be left behind. Even so, Vedala had given Stone the repacking order primarily to keep him occupied while the rest of the team examined the corpses. The sight of him had disturbed Vedala. His eyes were vacant over protruding cheekbones and a growth of reddish beard stubble. He had been rubbing his face and speaking in low tones about nightmares of blood like dust on the wind. Leaving the struggling roboticist behind, Vedala pulled on a pair of latex-free examination gloves. She led the 2 other team members back to the remains of Sergeant Brink. His body was still leaning against the trunk of a rubber tree, that horrible smile stuck on his face. As part of standard training, every member of the Wildfire roster had of course studied the incident in Piedmont. One of the first observations of the original field team was that the corpses did not bleed. And here, in the deep jungle more than 50 years later, Vedala found herself recreating a field experiment she had only read about in historical case files. With a scalpel, she drew a line across Brink's muscled scapula, exposing the bone of the shoulder blade just below the pre-existing wound. Peering into the clean, razor-sharp lip of the incision, Vedala could see each layer of the dermis in perfect relief, from the tan surface of the epidermis to the pale white dermis to the fatty yellow hypodermis. Below that was a layer of pink muscle and then whitish-pink bone with a clean notch in it. Speaking into a voice recorder, Vedala noted what she was observing.
Deep laceration to subject scapula. The wound is clean of blood. A preliminary examination indicates the red blood cells are desiccated in the area near the wound and possibly throughout the body. The corpse demonstrates no lividity. In other words, his blood has been turned to red dust,
said a hollow voice. The 3 scientists turned to see James Stone standing gaunt and trembling a few yards away. His backpack was strapped on tightly, crowded with canary drones. For once, the entire swarm was quiet, all of them perched on their docks to recharge. Stone's eyes burned with a haggard intensity Vedala hadn't seen before.
It's just like the first time. It's Piedmont all over again. We should all be dead by now. I should be dead.
No, James, said Vedala in a steady voice. She didn't like the way Stone was breathing in shallow gasps, or how his eyes were darting back and forth across the oddly upright body of Sergeant Brink.
It's not quite the same as before. Look here. Focus.
Vedala carefully tugged on Brink's shirt, ripping the fabric open where it had been split. Peng Wu gasped audibly as the skin of Brink's shoulder was revealed.